Hello, viewers. I, Sulakshana, welcome you all to today's session. Joining us today is an agripreneur who is transforming India's agricultural landscape through innovation and technology. Growing up in Lasalgaon, Maharashtra, the home to Asia's largest onion market, she has witnessed the challenges that farmers face due to insufficient storage. With her background in computer engineering, she launched India's first IoT-based onion storage solution, ensuring better quality and sustainability for farmers. She is Kalyani Rajendra Shinde, founder and managing director of Godaam Innovations Private Limited. Welcome to Krishi Jagran, Kalyani.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Kalyani, first, please tell our viewers about yourself and what inspired you to start Godaam Innovations and focus on onion storage solutions. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you. So my journey started 5, 6 years back. I'm a computer engineer by background. I studied from 2014 to 2018 while I was doing my engineering. In my third year or so, this challenge that I was seeing since childhood in my own family in the agri space, especially in the onion crop ecosystem, about the onion demand and supply chain, the challenge in the value chain, the losses that they were facing, the result that they got at the end of the season. This all intrigued me to understand if there are any solutions out there to help them, to help the farmers in my own family to, get a better return at the end or get better ROI on what they have invested, their efforts and time and money in growing that particular crop. Um, as I started doing my research and understanding whether there is any solution, I did not find a solution, but rather found out how large this problem is. It's not only me and my family in a particular village, but all over India, we have this issue. Not only with onion crop, but most of the horticulture produce that we produce at a very mass level, but storage or warehousing is a major challenge due to which we end up having a very distorted demand supply gap, and which results in, you know, variable market rates and untimely rates at which the crop is not there in the market and not a very sustainable income for the farmers. So that's where I started getting into the space of understanding this further better and seeing if we can contribute in any way to do this. And technology, because I was an engineer and from that background, technology was something which we were looking at using so that it can solve the problem at the root level, and also, eventually then we can build the system to a place where it is a foolproof value added solution from start to end. So in my last year, I found out about an initiative in Nashik. It's called Digital Impact Square. It's a TCS Foundation initiative where I applied as an innovator with the idea that I had about agri space, like the challenge that I was facing. And from 2018 January is when I joined there as an innovator. Since then, this journey started full time working into the space, and eventually we launched a company. And yeah, we are here.
Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. So, Kalyani, now I'd like to ask that what are some of the biggest challenges because onion spoilage is very frequently seen. So, what are most of the biggest challenges that you have faced while introducing this technology-driven storage solutions in agriculture, and how you have overcome this?
Okay. So when we initially started understanding this ecosystem, we went on from understanding right where the seed is coming from till where the crop is actually going, in the market. We understood each and every player who is a part of this ecosystem. We talked to every stakeholder. We understood how production happens, how storage happens, and how whereas it is finally sold. There are challenges in each of these segments, but we realize that there is only certain things that we can solve right now. There are dependencies on many multiple factors, especially when it is a crop like onion, which is very politically influenced crop. There are only so many things that you can do. So we tried to reach to the root cause of the problem, which was especially storage, because warehousing becomes the center of the ecosystem where the crop is coming from and going to. And because we consume onion on a day-to-day basis, we need the supply to be there throughout the year. But because it is a seasonal harvest. It does not happen. The harvest is not there throughout the year. So we need to sustain the harvest whenever it happens for the year, so that the consumption, we have enough for the consumption for domestic as well as for export purposes. So that's when a warehousing plays a very important role in that space. So that's when we realize that the storage that happens today is not very efficient, because we had gone on field and we looked at multiple warehouses in multiple geographies, and we realized that the structures that they have are very traditional. There are unscientific structures there, and the way the storage methodologies are practiced are very local and very traditional in practices. That's what was happening. And of course, there are research centers and there are knowledge pieces who can tell you how to do this better. But the gap between them and the people on field, like the farmers on field, is very huge. So that's what sort of intrigued us. While having multiple conversations with our farmers, we had a certain day we had a conversation about, let's say, if there is wastage happening in your warehouse, how do you know about it? And because we had done a lot of secondary research to understand that if in a household also, if we have like 5 kgs of onion, even if 1, 2 of that onion goes bad, the rest of the onion starts going bad in a week or 2 weeks period, right? So that secondary research we had with us, and then we started asking them, okay, how do you know? Because identifying early is very important, because then only it starts spreading further so that you can take some action. And based on their replies, we were really surprised, because the replies were, we rely on completely human sense, such as whenever the smell comes from the crop, we know that there is any particular wastage happening. And that too, you cannot point out in any particular exact location that where is it is happening. And when you get a smell, till then you've already lost 25 to 30% of your crop. And secondly, they know when the level of the crop. So let's say the onion is stocked till 6 feet height, the height suddenly goes down to 5 or 4.54 feet. Then they know that there is wastage in this particular compartment. Till then, it's 60 to 70% gone, and then the rest of the onion is also, you whatever 20-30% is remained, that also you sell at a C grade level, which you don't get better returns for. So this sort of was very surprising to us, and we saw our challenge that we wanted to work on. And we realized that early identification can be really key here, because if we early identify, we can alert them based on data. This is not going to be on human sense. And then based on that information, they can optimize how and when the crop is going to the market, so that they can avoid and stop the further spreadage of the crop. And then they'll be able to save 20 to 30% of their produce at every level whenever we alert them. So that's how we started looking at what to develop. After a lot of research and trial, we innovated this device, which is called Godaam Sense. What this device does is basically it monitors the microclimate in the warehouse, that is temperature and humidity. Now, when you store any crop, temperature and humidity are very important factors to be monitored. And similarly, it is for onion, because there is a certain optimum ranges of temperature and humidity which has to be maintained for a particular crop, and that is there for onion as well. But that was not being done, which we already saw on field. So first step was monitor that real time, because onion storage also goes through 3 different seasons. It is stored in summer, it goes through monsoon, and then till winter you take that out. So it goes through varied temperature and humidity conditions. So that's the first part of the solution. The second part of the solution, which is our USP, and we've also recently got our patent granted for the same, is early identification of wastage, which is the gases emitted by the crop. We sense those real time. Through our device, the data is sent to our server. There is a Wi-Fi router in the warehouse. And based on that data, we can analyze wastage in as early as 1%. So whenever there is any wastage started in a particular compartment, we alert to the warehouse owner through text alerts, or they have a dashboard access where they can see, like, let's say if they have 20 compartments, they know that compartment number 3 and 5 is now currently on high alert, and I need to take action on this crop before focusing on anything else. So that's the solution. From a challenge standpoint, because what we are trying to do is a category creation, it was difficult to penetrate the market, because if you ask farmers, they do not have a confirmed idea of how much crop they have been losing. Let's say if you ask them for the past 3 years, every time you talk to them, there will be some new answer they'll give to you, right? And this has been the case, and they, for them, the understanding is that this is a perishable item and it will go back. but there is no idea that if we can do certain methods properly, if we can use technology or do a scientific storage methodology, you can save a lot of your wastage. But that kind of thought process was a part of our awareness program, so a lot of time we had to spend to aware them that this something like this is possible. Then we did co-create our solution with a lot of farmers on field. We did a lot of pilots and trials with them with version 1, version 2, version 3 of the device, looking at what and when they require an alert, when they would take an action, giving them post alert support where our team is going and understanding how much now is, how much rotten has now come. If you wouldn't have taken action, this would be the condition. Things like that is what we have been doing for the past 4 5 years to get into the space. Today, we are working with B2B space majorly because farmer producer organizations is what has come up in the last 3 4 years. And even farmer producer organizations in different villages and different talukas now have all the farmers in that area registered under them, and they are themselves giving their crop to FPO so that they can store at a larger capacity. So they have sort of a community warehouse structure. And in these warehouses, there's all the more need to monitor because then it's at a very 10x, 20x more capacity than a farmer warehouse. So it's very difficult for a human sense to, for manpower to be deployed and understand what is happening there. So that's what we're doing right now. And we've also provided like a warehouse management platform along with the device where you can entirely manage the inflow and outflow of the crop on the dashboard. You will have a digital record. Going back to the problem that I mentioned, that they don't know that in the last 3 years, kitna exactly wastage hua and how much they have, spent and what they have lost. This way, we are going to digitize all their records and they'll have like a digital report to share based on whatever has happened throughout the season. So that kind of statistics is what we are providing. So yeah, that's what we do.
Okay. So I want to add up, like, as you have mentioned, that farmers are always dependent on the indigenous technological knowledges, like smelling the pungent smell of onion, and then they will know. So since you have incorporated technology in the warehouse storage, so if a farmer comes, suppose if you want to store his produces in your storehouse, then of course the price might fluctuate than the regular storage warehouses where he used to store. Like how you were like giving them the right price for their storage as well.
Okay. So, first of all, we don't provide any storages. Our device is a product which we sell to the farmers or whoever the warehouse owner is. So they have to have their own structure. And if they want to construct a new warehouse, we provide like help and consultancy in that area to make, a better storage structure which has scientific parameters considered, the way it can be stored and the way it can, sustain the crop for a longer duration. But we don't provide any warehouse as a support.
Okay.
Our focus is to convert your traditional warehouses into smart
Okay.
warehouses by providing our devices.
All
Yeah.
right. Yeah, that's very innovative and that's very new and much needed actually, because the supply they already have, they can't like sell the exact supply they are producing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So my last question to you is like, if someone wants to come to this business, like how would you inspire them to like, and how would you inspire people to start a warehouse like the product you are making? Like how would you inspire and what technological knowledges they would require for this?
See, for anybody to come into this space, I don't feel technology is the moat anyway in this space. Technology is something because now today with the generation of AI that we are going through, it's there are so many things that can be done with just a single data point or a single hardware device. What we really need to focus on is contextualizing whatever product we have made to the Indian context, to the Indian agriculture and audience. There are multiple companies who've tried bringing technologies from outside and started implementing in India. But when we actually go on field and start understanding that how it is working out there, it's really difficult for it to work because the climate here is very different. The practices that the farmers follow here are very different. The crop is very different. So all of that results into uh, the farming community now has sort of got into a space where they do not trust the technology as much, and because the results that they have got is not very huge, and of course it's a cost element that they have to bear. So from initial time, our focus was to create a solution which is robust, which is contextualized to the Indian context, understanding what they're actually facing today on ground, and also delivering a very cost effective solution which is a retrofit in their current existing capacity. So, as you rightly asked the question about the warehouse, we initially did think of creating a warehouse as a solution, and giving them as a service and everything. Probably in the future we might also do that, but when we realized, understanding that around 80% of the people who store crop already have their own structures, and even if those who don't, there are still warehouses where you can rent. So there's so much infrastructure which is currently existing. You cannot just ignore that and tell them कि उसको छोड़ दो and नया warehouse banana start करो, because this is much better, right? So we wanted to deliver a solution which can fit into the existing scenario and will not be very heavy on the pockets of the farmers, because already they are going through a lot. So again, concluding what I was saying is, you have to look at what is happening really on the field and see whether whatever you're developing is really going to change and affect that, rather than just focusing on a very high tech solution that I have made, which is a very once in a lifetime use technology or very unique. I don't think that will work. A simple technology with more results, which is relevant to them, is always 100x better than a very high tech solution which does not deliver as much as they.
Right.
Yeah.
So yes, so you always have to know the farmer's problem before starting anything, right? Definitely.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Kalyani, for giving us your time. Your journey is truly inspiring and very innovative. And we at Krishi Jagran wishes you all the best for your future endeavors. And thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.